That CD you got last year with that really good rate, well, it's about to mature. Should you renew it or do something else with those dollars? I've got that and more coming up. My name is Mike Bernard. I'm the host of the Wise Money Show. I'm also one of the certified financial planners right here at Korhorn Financial Group. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and smash that thumbs up button. You know, a year ago, everyone was expecting interest rates were going down. In fact, at the beginning of this year, Wall Street was expecting that the Fed was going to lower interest rates up to 6 times this year. At the time I'm recording this, middle of June, we haven't had it yet. And many more people are believing the Fed won't be lowering interest rates at all this year. So here's the deal. If you had some dollars that you put into a CD a year ago, odds are that CD is maturing. Should you renew that CD? And if so, should you structure it into a short-term CD, into a longer-term CD? What should you do? Well, that connects with a question that I got recently. And it's an individual, 63 years old, expecting to retire at her full retirement age 67, and did this very thing. Received an inheritance. Dad passed away a little over a year ago. Had some resources and said, I don't really know what to do with these dollars. They're likely for early in retirement. I'm going to put them into a CD. CDs are paying the best rate that they've paid in well over a decade, couple decades. I'm going to put them into a CD and we'll see. And sure enough, that 1-year CD is maturing right now. And so she reached out and said, what should I do? Is it best to renew into another CD? That's the first question. And then second, the bank where I've got the CD, they're offering to renew it either at 9 months or at 15 months. What's the wise thing to do? Well, you first need to answer 3 questions. 3 questions related to, well, should you let it renew or pull the dollars out and repurpose them? And the first is, has anything changed financially for you? Has anything changed in your financial life? And we know the statistics over the past year, as inflation has just continued to, be persistent, more and more people have found themselves in credit card debt, high interest credit card debt. We have credit card debt at the highest level it's ever been, at record high interest rates. And so if that was inadvertent and happened in your situation, then potentially having some of these dollars not renew from the CD, but go fight a different battle, apply for a different role in your financial life, i.e. paying off that high interest credit card debt, or serving a different function, you've got to first stop and consider that. So again, the question would be, well, what's changed in your financial life from a year ago to right now? Do you have high interest credit card debt? Is there an upcoming purchase or expense that you haven't set money aside for that these dollars could be used for? What's changed in your financial life, and does that influence the purpose of these dollars and the role that they should play? That's the first question. Second question is this short-term money or long-term money? Hopefully, back when you put the money into CDs, you were saying, well, this is short-term in nature, and therefore that's why, yes, I'm getting a competitive interest rate, hopefully over 5%. I'm happy to get that interest rate, but really these are short-term dollars, and that's why I have them in a CD that's going to mature in a year or so. Because as attractive as that 5% interest rate is, long-term, if these are long-term dollars, they could be earning significantly more than that by taking a little bit of risk, hopefully appropriate risk for your overall investment risk tolerance and investment time horizon. So is this short-term money? If so, the dollars should remain positioned for the short term in something like a CD. But if it's long-term money, and going back to this question, okay, this was received in an inheritance and I wasn't sure exactly how to use these dollars. If now, after a year, there's more clarity, no, I'm not going to touch these dollars for the long term, then maybe it makes sense to reposition these dollars as long-term investments, which ties in directly to that third question then. And that third question is, are you maximizing your tax shelters? if these dollars are for the long term, then taking a spot check and saying, am I maximizing my 401k? Am I maximizing my Roth IRA? What's my tax shelter strategy? And am I filling up all my tax sheltered buckets? Well, as I worked with this individual who had this question, well, the good news is nothing had changed in her financial life. She was still very conservative and managed her finances very well, hadn't gotten into any credit card debt or anything like that. And there was an upcoming expense, there still is, in her financial life. She's going to be buying a new car, but has been saving and setting money aside for that. So these dollars don't need to be repurposed in her financial life. That's one. Second, she reaffirmed that, yeah, I do plan to retire in just a couple of years. And while these dollars might be there for retirement, I might use them right before retirement or in early retirement. So in her mind, these were still short-term dollars. These were not long-term dollars that she expected she might use within the next 3 to 4 years. And you know what? If the urge came up sooner than that, she wanted to be able to use them. So she confirmed these were still short-term dollars and shouldn't be repositioned for the long term. And then finally, she had also confirmed she's maximizing her tax shelters. She's doing everything that she can into her 401k as well as the other tax shelters available to her Roth IRA as well. So as we kind of reset and took a look at those 3 questions, it still looked like, yeah, it would be appropriate for these dollars to stay and be renewed into another CD once they matured. So then it got to the second part of the question. Should I renew them into the 9-month CD that my bank is offering, or should I go into a 15-month CD instead? When I asked, well, what's the difference in interest rate? Because we are still dealing with this inverted yield curve where you can get a higher interest rate on a short-term CD than you can on a longer-term CD. For her local bank, the interest rates were essentially the same. I think it was 5.3% on the 9-month CD and 5.25% on the 15-month CD. And in her situation, I shared, only time will tell, which one was the best choice. To me, I look at those as similar or essentially the same interest rate. And because there's continuing to be pressure on the Fed to lower interest rates, I would use the longer term CD and lock up that 5.25% for as long as possible. So that's in her situation. Many people also, about a year ago, as interest rates were settling in at these high levels, a lot of people did lock in some strong interest rates on some shorter term CDs. 6 months, 9 months, 1 year, 15 months, that sort of thing. And if you have a CD maturing, you're going to want to go through those same 3 questions, work with your CFP to see what the wise choice is, whether you renew those dollars into another CD, and if so, at the right length, or if they serve a different and should serve a different function in your financial life. So work with your CFP on that. If you don't have a CFP on your team, you can contact one on my team. Find us online, Korhorn.com. That's Korhorn with K. WiseMoneyShow.com. You can find us there as well. Or send us an email, info@Korhorn.com. All right, there you have it. Go out and take your next wise step in your financial life.